Far away in the silent corners of the galaxy, there is a planet called Thalora 9, a place that glows under 3 moons and whispers secrets through the wind. The most mysterious part of this planet is not its sky or its mountains, but a giant lake at the center of a valley. A lake that no creature dares to touch. Its surface shines like liquid stars, and even from a distance it feels alive, like it is breathing slowly in the dark night. The water spreads light like a million tiny lanterns, floating and moving in a pattern no one can understand. The aliens who live on this planet call it the Silent Water because it swallows everything that comes near and gives nothing back for hundreds of years. Travelers, explorers, and adventurers from many star systems came to Thalora 9, curious about this lake. They sent drones, they sent machines, they even sent animals, but nothing ever returned. The moment something touched the water, it vanished like smoke, disappearing into the night. No sound, no wave, no trace, just silence that made the air around it heavy. The aliens built warning towers around the valley with glowing signs in different languages saying, "No entry, keep away danger, beyond understanding." The local people told stories around the fire at night about how once a flying creature touched the surface and was gone. In one blink, how a brave soldier from a distant world tried to swim across and never came back. How the lake is not water, but a gate to somewhere unknown. Somewhere where no one has returned from. Their stories grew darker with every generation. Some believed the lake is alive. Some said it holds the soul of a sleeping god. Others whispered that the water is not from this planet at all. The lake itself never changed. It kept glowing. It kept calling silently like a quiet song. Only the brave or the foolish could hear. Then one day, something unusual happened far above the sky. A human exploration ship appeared, its engines humming softly as it slowly entered the atmosphere. The aliens watched from their towers, confused and worried. No one expected humans to come here. Humans were known for their curiosity and their fearless nature, but they were also known for ignoring warnings. The ship landed near the valley ground, shaking lightly as dust rose in waves. The team of 6 humans stepped out wearing exploration suits, their eyes wide with wonder and excitement. One of them scanned the area with a small device and said, "This place is strange." Another looked at the glowing lake and whispered, "It is beautiful." A tall man with a commander badge on his arm looked at the warning signs in alien language and said, "They are telling us to stay away." But humans have always walked where others refuse to go. They climbed mountains when others stayed in the valley. They crossed oceans when others feared storms. They explored the stars when others stayed on their planets. And now they stood at the edge of the silent water, facing the glowing surface that reflected the 3 moons like mirrors. Above the valley, the alien watchers spoke through their communication towers, warning the humans in broken translation, "Do not enter danger, unknown return immediately." The commander listened, but his eyes stayed on the water. His team whispered nervously. Some felt fear, some felt excitement. A young woman scientist stepped closer, holding a scanning stick. The device beeped in strange rhythm, as if the water itself was answering back. The closer they got, the quieter everything became. No birds, no wind. Even the sound of their own steps started to fade, like the lake was swallowing every noise. Their hearts beat louder in their ears. Their breaths echoed in their helmets like drums in a cave. The glowing water looked soft, almost inviting, like silk floating in the air. The aliens, watching from afar, started recording every movement. They had seen many explorers come before, but this time something felt different. The humans did not send drones. First, they did not throw stones or test objects. They simply walked closer, as if they trusted the unknown, as if curiosity itself guided their steps. The commander raised his hand, signaling everyone to stop. At the edge of the glowing lake he took a deep breath. His reflection on the surface looked strange, stretched and twisted, like the lake was showing another version of him. He reached out with his gloved hand, slowly lowering it toward the shining surface. The team held their breath. Aliens. On the towers whispered through their radios, some saying, "Turn back," others saying, "This is madness." His hand touched the surface the moment his glove made contact. The entire lake changed color. The soft white light turned pitch black like night spreading. Fast across the water, the glow vanished in seconds. The stars above reflected no more. The valley went dark, completely dark. The air became still, like time itself had paused. The humans looked around confused. Their scanners went silent. The young scientist gasped. The commander tried to pull his hand back, but it felt like something was holding it gently but firmly. In the towers, the aliens screamed into their transmitters, "They will be erased. They will disappear like the others." But what happened next was not what anyone expected. Instead of the commander vanishing, his entire body began to sink slowly without a splash, without resistance, like the lake opened its arms to him. The others rushed to pull him back, but one by one they too were pulled in their boots, touching the surface, and then being swallowed by the silent black water. From above it looked like the humans were sinking into a mirror, and then they were gone. The surface closed behind them, smooth and silent as if nothing had happened. The lake remained black. No glow, no sound, only silence that felt deeper than space. The aliens stared, frozen, unable to believe what they had just seen. This was not how the lake had reacted before. Something had changed. Something had awakened. The lake was silent, darker than the space above its surface, no longer glowing, no longer alive. The 3 moons reflected only shadows, and the valley itself felt frozen, like the breath of the world had stopped. The humans were gone, swallowed. In front of every alien eye, the watchers on the towers could not move. They had seen explorers vanish before, but never like this. No ripples, no sound, no scream. Only a smooth sinking, as if the lake had chosen to take them gently. For a long moment, nothing happened. The valley air hung heavy. The towers buzzed with nervous voices. Some aliens demanded to close the valley forever. Others whispered that the humans had awakened something inside the water. The commanders of different species argued through their radios, but their eyes never left the black surface of the lake. Then suddenly the silence cracked. The water began to move, not like normal water. It stretched outward in strange patterns. Light started to rise again, but not white. This a time. It was deep blue and red shapes like veins, glowing through the darkness lines, spreading across the surface like living marks. The aliens stepped back in fear, their hearts racing, their screens capturing every shift, as if the water was no longer just water, but a giant living skin. The humans inside felt it differently when they sank. They expected death. They expected to drown. But instead, they felt air around them, soft, cool, and heavy, yet they could breathe. The commander opened his eyes slowly, realizing he was standing, not floating. His boots touched something solid, even though the lake above had swallowed him. He looked around and saw the young scientist near him, her scanning device flashing madly with strange signals. They were no longer inside water, but inside something else, a space that looked endless and bright. Above the surface, the aliens saw something else. The lake that had turned black began to show images, faint at first, but slowly clearer stars, nebula shapes, strange visions of galaxies spinning, as if the lake was a giant screen showing places far away. The watchers gasped, some believing they were seeing the future, others believing they were seeing other worlds. Inside, the humans saw towers rising from the ground, tall and glowing like coral made of glass. They pulsed with soft light, moving like breathing lungs. The commander touched the surface of one tower and felt warmth running through his hand, like blood flowing. Not stone, not machine, but something between. Alive and built. His team gathered close, whispering with nervous awe. One of them said, "This is a city." Another said, "No, this is something beyond a city. This is a heart." Suddenly, a voice echoed not in their ears but in their minds, slow and deep welcome. "Outsiders!" The humans froze, looking around, but no one stood there. The scientist whispered, "Did you hear that?" The commander nodded, his face tense. The voice came again, steady and calm. "You are the first in centuries to enter without being erased." Above the lake, the aliens panicked even more. The glowing lines on the surface spread into the sky patterns, forming across the air like writing. No one could read. A humming sound filled the valley, vibrating through the towers, through their bones. The aliens believed this was a warning. They shouted through radio saying the humans had broken a sacred barrier. Inside the strange space, the humans moved forward cautiously, every step echoing like thunder. They reached an open square where the ground glowed with moving symbols, strange runes, shifting like flowing water. One soldier knelt down to touch them, but the commander stopped him, saying, "Wait, we do not know what this is." The voice returned louder. "Now, do not fear. This place accepts you because you are different." The scientist raised her scanner and spoke softly. "We can breathe here, we can walk here. This is not water. This is another dimension, maybe an energy pocket, maybe a living field. But it is real." The commander looked at her and said, "Whatever it is, it has been waiting." The voice spoke again. "Steady, patient, you carry the frequency of change. Others who came before could not survive. Their essence was broken, their form erased, but you humans resonate with the core." The humans exchanged nervous looks, some scared, some curious. The commander stood tall and asked, "What do you want from us?" But the voice did not answer directly. Instead, the ground below them shifted, glowing brighter. The towers around them pulsed like beating hearts. The space itself felt alive. Above the lake, the aliens saw the entire surface shine bright again, brighter than ever before, beams of light shooting upward like signals into space, spreading across the valley. They shielded their eyes, afraid of what might come. One alien whispered, "This is not a lake. This is a gate." Inside, the humans saw the outline of a figure slowly taking form from the light. Not flesh, not bone, but made of pure energy, tall with flowing shapes, like smoke wrapped in flame, its eyes two circles of white fire. It spoke, not with a mouth, but directly to their minds. "You entered without fear. That is why you remain." The young scientist stepped forward, her voice shaking. "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head slowly. "I am the keeper of the silent water, guardian of the core. I am what protects the heart of Thalora 9. The commander felt his chest tighten, heart pounding. "Faster," he whispered to his team. "Stay calm. Whatever this is, we are part of something much bigger than us." The figure raised its hand, pointing deeper into the glowing city. "Come with me. See what others could not see. The truth beneath." The humans looked at one another, their faces pale, but their eyes wide, curiosity stronger than fear. They followed as the towers shifted, opening a path of light ahead behind them. The black surface of the lake closed like a sealed door, cutting them off from the world. Above, and in the towers high above the valley, the aliens trembled, their screens showing nothing but a black surface. Once more, the humans were gone. Truly gone, but not erased, not destroyed. They had crossed into somewhere no living being had ever returned from. The humans followed the glowing path deeper into the strange underwater city, their steps echoing softly in the air that was not air. Their suits no longer felt heavy, their helmets clear, their lungs breathing something they did not understand, but it felt clean, fresh, alive. The young scientist kept scanning everything around her, her device flashing patterns she had never seen. The towers around them moved, slightly bending, as if they were watching the newcomers, the floor under. Their boots pulsed like a heartbeat, a rhythm that matched the beating in their own chests. The figure made of light led them through streets that curved like flowing rivers. Buildings stood tall, but none had doors or windows. They were shaped like shells spiraling upward, glowing from within. The humans whispered to each other, amazed and nervous. Some thought they were inside a machine. Others believed they were walking through a living creature. The commander stayed silent, watching everything, with sharp eyes trying to understand where they were and what they had entered. Above the lake, the aliens stared at their screens. The surface showed no image, only darkness. Their scanning devices picked up strange energy spikes. The patterns were repeating like a signal, going somewhere far. They argued nervously. Some believed the humans had been absorbed. Others thought they had activated the lake's defenses. Alien leaders sent messages to nearby fleets, preparing in case something dangerous emerged. Inside the hidden city, the glowing figure stopped in front of a large open space, a circle where the ground was covered in shifting symbols, glowing and moving like flowing streams. The air vibrated gently, like soft music playing without. Instruments, the humans stood at the edge of the circle, staring in awe. The scientist whispered, "This is beautiful." The figure turned its glowing face toward them, and its voice echoed in their minds. "This place is older than your stars, older than your sun." The commander stepped closer, his boots lighting the symbols with every step. He asked silently through his thoughts, "Why are we here?" The figure replied, "Because you are the first who can enter without breaking the balance." Others tried, but their essence could not match this place. They dissolved like sand in wind. But you humans carry a frequency that fits the core. The scientist raised her scanner again and whispered, "This energy is alive. It is reacting to us." The figure raised its glowing arm and pointed downward. The ground beneath the circle began to split silently, not cracking but opening like petals of a flower light, pouring upward brighter and brighter. The humans shielded their eyes as a deep staircase formed, leading downward into pure white light. The figure spoke, "Follow and know what sleeps beneath." The humans hesitated for a second, fear flickering in their eyes, but curiosity burned stronger. The commander nodded and led the way down each step, humming softly. Under their weight, the light grew warmer around them, like walking through sunlight under the ocean. They descended slowly, their voices echoing softly in the endless chamber below. The stairs opened into a massive hall, a place so large it felt infinite. Walls curved upward like the inside of a giant dome, glowing veins running across every surface. The air thrummed with power, like standing inside the chest of a living god. In the center of the hall floated a massive structure like a crystal heart, the size of a spaceship, pulsing slowly with blue and gold light, each beat sending waves through the air that touched their skin softly. The humans stopped in silence, eyes wide, breaths shaking. The scientist whispered, "This is not a city. This is a living engine." The figure floated beside the crystal, its glowing form brighter near the core. "This is the heart of Thalora 9. It whispered, the core that keeps this world alive. It sings to the stars and listens to the universe when it weakens. The planet weakens when it sleeps. The world grows silent." The commander walked closer slowly, every step making the floor ripple like water. His mind flooded with questions. He asked, "What do you want from us? Why show this to us?" The figure's voice became deeper, slower, "Because you humans are different. Your kind listens where others demand. Your kind steps forward where others turn away. The core has felt your presence across the stars. It chose to open for you, because the time of silence is ending." Above the surface, the aliens detected a massive energy surge. Their machines blaring warnings, ships orbiting the planet, picked up signals never seen before. Messages were sent to their governments. Something was happening beneath the lake. Something too powerful to ignore. Fleets began moving toward the valley, preparing for whatever was awakening. Inside the chamber, the humans felt the heartbeat of the core matching their own. Their skin tingled, their minds filled with soft whispers. Not words, but feelings. Curiosity, wonder, a call for help. The scientist touched a small floating shard near the crystal and gasped as visions flashed in her mind. Endless space, collapsing stars, waves of energy, creatures fleeing, worlds breaking apart. She stumbled back, breathing hard. The commander grabbed her arm, steadying her. "What did you see?" She whispered, "This core. It is not just power. It is memory. It is watching everything." The figure turned toward them, its glowing form flickering slightly. "The time is short. The world above is restless. The core is weakening, cracks forming in its song. If it stops, this planet will fall into silence forever." The humans exchanged looks, heavy with unspoken thoughts. They came to explore, not to save a world. Yet something deep inside them stirred. The commander stepped forward, his voice firm. "Tell us what to do." The figure extended its hands toward them, glowing brighter than ever. "You must see the truth inside the core, then decide whether to help or to leave like the others did." The ground beneath them started to shift, lifting them slowly toward the floating heart. Light surrounded their bodies, warm and weightless, as they moved closer to the massive pulsing structure. Their reflections danced on its shining surface like tiny sparks approaching a star. Above the valley, alien fleets arrived, ships covering the night sky, their lights reflecting on the black surface of the lake. Commanders shouting orders, weapons charging, fear spreading fast. Across every tower, the silent water waited unmoving, hiding the humans deep beneath as the fate of the planet slowly began to twist. The humans floated slowly toward the glowing crystal heart, their bodies surrounded by warm light, their minds filled with strange whispers that came from every direction, like a song without words. The air around them pulsed with the rhythm of the massive core. The figure of light followed close behind its glowing form, merging slightly with the energy that flowed. Through the chamber, the humans stared at the crystal in awe, their hands reaching out but not touching, as if standing before something sacred, something ancient beyond their understanding. The commander spoke through his thoughts, asking, "What is this? Really, and why are we here?" The figure's voice echoed gently inside their minds. This world was not always silent long ago. A civilization thrived beneath these waters. They were the keepers, beings of pure energy, who shaped the lake, built the towers, and created the core. They sang to the stars. They kept balance across this planet for thousands of cycles. They guided other species who came here, teaching them how to listen, how to live in harmony with the song of the core. The scientist listened. Wide-eyed, her device flashing wildly as she recorded everything. The figure continued. But greed came from beyond, visitors who saw power, not harmony. They tried to take the core, to use it for war, to fuel their machines, to bend stars to their will. The keepers fought, but they were few. Their civilization collapsed one by one. They merged with the lake, becoming its memory, its guardians, sealing this place from all who came after. The humans floated near the glowing surface of the crystal and saw faint shapes inside shadows of figures moving slowly, like echoes of beings trapped in time. Their glowing outlines shifting like smoke. The scientist whispered softly, "They are still." Here the figure nodded. Yes, their essence lives inside the water, inside the heart, watching, waiting, guarding. But time weakens even the strongest, and now the cracks have begun. Above the surface, alien fleets circled the valley, their massive ships casting shadows across the towers below. The commanders argued through their channels. Some demanded to destroy the lake before it could release anything dangerous. Others wanted to control it, capture its energy, and claim it for their own. The alien leaders sent a message into the valley demanding the humans return immediately, but the lake remained silent. Their signals went unanswered, and their fear grew with every passing moment. Inside the chamber, the glowing figure extended its hands, and the light around the humans shifted, forming images in the air, visions of the past. They saw the keepers walking through glowing streets, singing in harmony with the core. their voices lighting the towers. They saw ships from distant stars arriving, with promises of friendship that turned into betrayal, weapons fire, lighting the sky, battles raging above the lake, the keepers merging into the water to protect the heart, sacrificing their forms to keep the planet alive. The images flickered and faded like memories dissolving into mist. The commander felt a weight settle on his chest as the truth unfolded. He looked at his team, their faces pale and silent. They had come as explorers, but now they stood inside the legacy of an entire civilization. The figure's voice deepened. This place was never meant to be found again, not until the stars brought a song that could match ours. The humans are that song. The scientist stepped closer to the core, the energy around her humming. Gently, she whispered, "It reacts to us like it knows us." The figure nodded. "Your kind carries a rare frequency, a balance between logic and instinct, between fear and courage. Others came with greed or with blind power. They shattered against the core like glass in a storm. But you humans stepped in without demand, without understanding, yet the heart opened for you." Above the lake, the alien ships began to prepare their weapons. They believed the humans had taken control of something powerful, their scanners detected. Increasing energy levels below the surface, panic spread through their ranks. Their leaders shouted to fire if necessary, their fear painting the sky with tension. The valley trembled under the humming of engines and charged cannons. Inside the hidden city, the commander sensed the change above. He asked the figure, "Can they harm this place?" The figure's glowing eyes turned brighter. "If they attack, they will break the shield. The core will fight back, and the song will end. For all the planet will fall into silence, and their ships will burn in the sky." The commander clenched his fists, realizing they were standing between two forces, neither of which fully understood the other. The figure moved closer to the core, its voice softer now. "The heart is old, it is tired, it cannot fight much longer, it needs harmony to heal, it needs those who can carry its song forward." It looked at the humans with glowing eyes filled with something like hope or expectation. "You can help if you choose." The scientist's hands trembled as she felt the energy wrapping around her like invisible threads. She could feel the heartbeat of the planet through her skin. She whispered, "What happens if we refuse?" The figure answered, "Then the lake will close again. The cracks will grow, and soon the silence will consume everything above and below." Above the surface, alien commanders grew impatient, their weapons aimed, their engines roaring. The lake remained unmoving, its black surface reflecting their lights like a giant mirror hiding the truth below. The scientist felt the vibrations in the core intensify like a storm building. She turned to the commander, her eyes wide. "If they attack, the core will react, and this entire planet could be destroyed." The commander looked at his team, and then at the glowing figure, his voice steady. "Tell us what we must do." The figure raised its arms, and the chamber filled with light, swirling around like a living storm. It whispered, "Come and see the core's true center, the place where the choice will be made." The floor beneath them opened again, forming a spiral of glowing light, leading deeper into the unknown. The humans exchanged nervous looks, but they followed, their hearts beating fast, their minds filled with questions. They stepped onto the spiral and began to descend, leaving behind the hall of memory. The figure of light floating behind them like a silent guardian as the sound of the core's song grew louder and stronger, guiding them toward their destiny. The humans followed the spiral of light deeper into the heart of the hidden city, their steps guided by the humming song that grew stronger with every movement. The tunnel around them pulsed softly, like veins glowing with golden and blue light. The air felt heavy but alive, like standing inside the lungs of a sleeping giant. The glowing figure floated ahead, its form becoming brighter as they moved downward. The commander kept his team close, his eyes scanning every curve of the strange passage, trying to understand where it would lead. Above the surface, alien fleets hovered silently, their weapons ready. their leaders watching the black lake with tense eyes. Their scanners showed growing energy spikes beneath the surface signals, unlike anything recorded before. Some believed the humans were unlocking a weapon. Others feared they were awakening. Something ancient ships adjusted their positions, forming a ring around the valley, their lights cutting through the dark night like sharp blades. The silence above was heavy like the breath before a storm. Below, the spiral opened into a massive chamber, wider and taller than anything the humans had seen before. Its walls curved like a dome, covered in living patterns, shifting slowly like flowing rivers of light. In the center floated the true core, a massive crystal structure shaped like a heart and a star. Combined, it pulsed with layers of light, each beat sending waves through the air that touched their skin like soft wind, the ground around. It glowed with symbols that changed shape as they approached, as if the core itself was reacting to their presence. The scientist stared at the core, her scanner blinking wildly, unable to keep up with the data. She whispered softly, "This is the source. This is the center of everything." The figure floated beside the core, its voice deep and slow. "This heart has sung for countless ages. It powers the planet. It holds its memories, its weather, its oceans, its skies, its balance. Every beat keeps the Laura 9 alive. But time and silence have weakened it. The cracks spread like sickness through its light, and now it stands on the edge of sleep." The commander stepped closer, his boots lighting the floor with every step. He could feel the warmth from the core on his face, like standing near a star. He asked in his thoughts, "What can we do?" The figure turned its glowing eyes toward him and replied, "You must listen. You must let the heart speak, and if it chooses, you must help it sing again." The light around them shifted. Suddenly beams from the core wrapped around each human, pulling them gently into the air, weightless like feathers drifting in a current, their minds filled with visions, galaxies spinning, stars being born, waves of energy flowing through cosmic oceans. They saw the planet breathing the lake, glowing as a gate between worlds. The core was not just a power source, it was a living bridge, a memory keeper connected to the fabric of the universe. Above the surface, alien commanders grew restless, their screens flashing brighter as the energy surge increased. Their ships vibrated with the force building below. One shouted to open fire before it was too late. Another warned that an attack could trigger something unstoppable. Their fear turned to chaos, their voices overlapping through the channels. The sky above the valley filled with the sound of charging weapons, engines roaring through the night inside. The chamber, the scientist gasped as the core's visions grew stronger. She saw cracks spreading through the light like dark veins, pushing outward like a growing storm. She whispered, "It's dying." The figure nodded, its glowing form flickering slightly. "Yes, the silence grows. It feeds on fear and greed. If the heart falls silent, the planet will crumble, the lake will collapse, the skies will break, and the fleets above will burn in their own fire." The commander clenched his fists, his mind racing. They came as explorers, but now the fate of an entire world rested in their hands. The figure spoke softly. "The heart does not demand, it only calls. You can walk away, and the silence will take all, or you can answer, and the song will live." The ground trembled slightly as the energy levels spiked. The core glowed brighter, but the cracks deepened, spreading across its surface like fractures in glass. The humming grew louder, almost like a desperate cry. The humans floated near the center, surrounded by waves of light, their bodies glowing faintly as if the core was linking to their very essence. Above the lake, the alien fleets received one final reading from their scanners, a sudden spike like a wave ready to burst through the planet. Their leaders panicked. Some gave the order to prepare bombs to destroy the lake if necessary. They feared the unknown more than the truth. They did not see the humans. They only saw power and danger. The ships aligned, their weapons aimed directly at the black water. The air trembled with tension like a bowstring pulled tight. Below, the glowing Figure extended its hands toward the humans. The choice must be made. Now the heart cannot hold much longer. The scientist looked at her team, her eyes wide with fear and determination. She whispered, "This is bigger than us." The commander nodded slowly. His mind clear for the first time since they arrived, he looked at the core, glowing like a star on the edge of death, and he felt something deep inside, a pull like gravity. A voice that was not a voice calling softly, "Help me." The figure spoke one last time. "If you help, the heart will sing again, but it will demand something in return. It will not take your power. It will share its song, but you must be willing to give a part of yourselves. Your essence will merge with its light, not forever, but enough to awaken it." The humans floated in silence, their minds locked in heavy thought above the lake. Alien ships moved into attack formation below. The heart cracked, louder light bursting through. The fractures like lightning in a storm. The humming turned into a low rumble, shaking the chamber. The figure's glowing eyes burned brighter. "Choose now, before the silence wins." The commander looked at his team, their faces reflected in the cores, like their fear mixed with courage. He took a deep breath, his thoughts firm and clear. "We choose to help." The figure raised its arms, light swirling like a vortex, pulling them closer to the core as the chamber shook around them. Their bodies glowed, brighter, merging with the rhythm of the heart, as if becoming part of its song. Above the valley, the alien ships locked their weapons. A single word echoed through their radios. Fire above the black silent lake. The alien fleets hovered in perfect formation, their massive ships circling like metal beasts, their engines humming like thunder, their weapons glowing with deadly light. The commanders shouted through their radios, voices sharp with fear and urgency. Some believed the humans had seized control of a hidden weapon. Others feared they had awakened something older than their civilizations. Their screens showed energy levels below the lake, rising like a tidal wave waiting to explode. Their hands hovered over the attack controls, their faces pale under the glow of their screens. The air around the valley vibrated with tension. Every tower on the ground trembled as the fleets prepared to fire. The black water reflected their lights like a mirror, hiding the truth of what was happening. Beneath its surface, their fear grew with every passing second. Some ships powered up massive energy bombs designed to crack planetary shields. Others aimed focused beams at the center of the lake, ready to strike with one command, below the surface. Inside the glowing chamber, the humans floated near the heart, their bodies wrapped in waves of light, their minds connected to the rhythm of the core. The glowing figure watched silently, its form flickering as if feeling the pressure from above. The heart pulsed faster, its cracks spreading like lightning across its surface. The song grew louder, but unstable, like a melody on the edge of breaking. The scientist's voice shook as she whispered, "They are going to attack." The commander clenched, his fists feeling the weight of two worlds, pressing down on his shoulders. The figure's voice echoed softly but firmly. "The choice must be made. The heart is ready to awaken, but it cannot protect itself and the world above at the same time. If they attack while the song begins, the shield will break and everything will be destroyed." The humans exchanged quick looks, their faces tense. The commander closed his eyes for a moment, hearing the hum of the core like a heartbeat matching his own. Opened them again, filled with a clear decision. Above the lake, alien leaders gave their final warnings, their voices cold and sharp. They demanded the humans surface immediately and surrender control or face destruction. But the lake remained silent, the surface unmoving like a sleeping giant. Their patience broke, their fear stronger than reason. The order to fire echoed through their fleets like a cold wind spreading from ship to ship. Their weapons charged fully, their engines roared as the night sky lit up like 1,000 suns preparing to strike. Inside the chamber, the glowing figure raised its arms. The heart responded with a surge of energy. Light swirling faster around the humans, pulling them closer to its core, their bodies glowing brighter. their thoughts merging with the pulse of the planet. The scientist felt visions rushing through her mind, stars collapsing, oceans rising, mountains breaking, entire civilizations falling silent. The commander felt the voice of the heart, deep inside his chest, whispering not in words, but in pure feeling, "Help me awaken." The humans pressed their hands against the glowing surface of the core, their minds opening to its song. The cracks on the heart pulsed wildly, light leaking like rivers. The chamber shook like an earthquake. Above, the fleets began their countdown to launch their weapons, every second echoing like the beating of a war drum. The alien soldiers inside their ships stared at the lake, their hearts pounding their fingers, ready on the trigger. The figure's glowing eyes shone like stars. "This is the moment," it whispered. "If you succeed, the shield will rise and the world will live. If you fail, everything ends." The commander shouted through his thoughts. Now the humans focused their energy, their memories, their emotions. The heart responded like a giant lung, taking its first breath in centuries. Waves of light exploded outward, filling the chamber, wrapping around them like a living storm. Above the surface, the lake suddenly burst with light beams shooting upward into the sky, blinding the fleets for a moment. Their screens overloaded, their scanners flooded with impossible readings. The water no longer black, but blazing with gold and blue like a star had been. Born beneath their ships, some commanders hesitated, their fingers frozen by the sudden beauty. Others saw it as a threat and shouted. Fire missiles and energy beams shot through the sky, slicing the darkness with blinding light. They rained down toward the center of the lake where the beams rose. The valley shook under the weight of the incoming attack. The ground cracked, the towers trembled, the air screamed like a storm without end. Below, the figure raised its arms higher. The core answered with a massive surge. The humans felt their bodies merging with the pulse of the heartlight, flowing through their veins like fire, their thoughts dissolving into the song. Together they pushed their energy outward. The cracks on the heart glowed white, hot, and then slowly began to seal like wounds, closing under healing light. The hum turned into a roar, like a giant awakening from endless sleep. Above, the first missiles hit the surface, but instead of explosions, the lake expanded outward, like a shield swallowing the energy, turning it into ripples of light. The fleets gasped, their attack fading like raindrops on a glowing ocean. But then came the bombs, massive spheres of energy falling faster, their power enough to shatter mountains. The figure looked up, its glowing form flickering heavily. "The shield is not ready yet," it whispered. The commander felt the pressure inside his mind like a storm tearing through his thoughts. He looked at his team, their faces glowing with determination and fear. He whispered through the shared link, "We hold nothing back. Give everything we have." Their energy surged brighter. The heart answered, roaring like a star. Its light expanded, bursting through the chamber, shooting upward like a pillar connecting. Ground and sky above the bombs touched the shield, and the valley exploded with light brighter than 1,000 suns. Every ship, every tower, every creature in the sky and on the ground froze as the light covered the world. Their scanners went blank, their radios silent, their eyes filled with endless glow. Inside the chamber, the humans screamed silently as the energy tore through them, and the heart, their bodies shaking, their minds stretched to the limit. The figure stood beside them, its light merging with theirs, guiding their energy like a conductor leading a cosmic symphony. The cracks on the heart sealed fully. The song changed from desperate to strong. The shield above solidified, glowing like a living dome, protecting the lake, and everything beneath it. Above, the fleets stared in shock, their weapons useless, their attacks absorbed like drops in an ocean. The black water was gone, replaced by a radiant shield spreading across the valley like wings of light. Their fear turned into silence, their leaders frozen as they realized they were facing something far beyond their power. Below, the heart pulsed slowly, steady and alive, its light softer but stable. The humans floated weak, their energy spent but their eyes shining with The reflection of the core. The figure looked at them, its glowing eyes filled with something that felt like gratitude. The song has begun, but the price is not yet paid. It whispered. The shield above the lake glowed like a second sun, spreading light. Across the valley, the alien fleets floated in silence, their weapons dim, their scanners blank, their commanders speechless, as the waves of golden blue light moved through the air like living wings. Their fear turned to awe, their ships slowly drifting. As if held by invisible hands, they had fired their strongest weapons, yet nothing had broken the shield. The lake stood radiant, calm, and alive like a sleeping god, awakened after endless ages. Below the surface, inside the glowing chamber, the humans floated weak, their bodies tired from channeling the energy, their faces pale but their eyes burning with determination. The heart pulsed slowly, its cracks sealed, but its light flickered faintly like a candle in strong wind. The glowing figure hovered. Near the core, its form shaking like a flame. The commander looked at the heart, then at the figure, understanding something unspoken. He whispered through his thoughts, "It's not enough." The figure's voice echoed softly. The heart has awakened, but the silence still clings. It needs one last dive. One soul to merge completely, to ignite the core fully. The scientist's eyes widened. What does that mean? The figure turned to them, its glowing face calm but heavy. One of you must give more than energy. You must give your essence, a connection that will bind part of your life to the heart, not forever, but enough to push the song through the silence. If no one does, the shield will fade, the fleets above will strike again, and the planet will fall. The chamber grew quiet. The heartbeat of the core echoed through the air like a soft drum. The humans exchanged heavy looks, fear and resolve mixing inside them. They had come as explorers, not heroes. But now a world stood on the edge of life and death. The commander slowly floated forward, his voice steady. "I will do it." The scientist shook her head. "No, we all came here together. You can't." He looked at her with a calm smile. "Someone has to, and it has to be someone who leads, not someone who follows." Above the shield flickered slightly. The alien fleet saw the change, their scanners coming back online. Some commanders shouted that the shield was weakening. Weapons started to hum. Again, their fear returning as fast as it had disappeared. The sky filled with tension once more, like storm clouds gathering around a fragile light. The lake below shimmered weakly, its golden glow fading like the last rays of sunset. Inside, the figure extended its hand toward the commander. "You understand what this means?" He nodded, his voice firm. "I do." The figure's light surrounded him, wrapping his body in golden threads, pulling him closer to the core. The scientist grabbed his arm, her eyes filled with tears. He looked at her and whispered through the link, "This is what explorers do. We walk first so others can follow." The heart pulsed faster. Sensing his choice, waves of light moved outward, filling the chamber. The other humans floated back, their bodies glowing faintly as they watched their leader step into the light. The figure guided him slowly toward the center of the core, the energy around them swirling like a storm. The scientist whispered through trembling lips, "He will be part of it." The figure nodded softly. "Yes, he will dive and the heart will remember him." Above, the fleets armed their weapons fully, their leaders shouting through the radios that this was their last chance. Their engines roared, the valley trembled. The shield flickered again, weaker now, like a glass wall under pressure. The alien ships moved closer, forming a tight circle around the lake. Their fear mixing with confusion and desperation. They did not understand what was happening below, but they saw an opportunity to strike before the unknown consumed them. Below, the commander reached the core, his body glowing brighter, merging with the rhythm of the heart, his thoughts filled with images of stars, oceans, memories of Earth, his home. His people, everything he had ever known, all swirling together with the pulse of this alien world. He felt no fear, only clarity. He whispered silently, "Let the song live." The figure placed its glowing hand on his chest and pushed him gently into the heart. The moment he touched the crystal, a wave of light exploded through the chamber. The heart roared like a star being born. His body dissolved into pure energy, merging with the core, his essence spreading through every vein, every glowing pattern. The song changed its tone, growing stronger, louder, reaching upward like a rising tide. The scientist screamed his name, but her voice was drowned by the soundless roar of light. The figure looked at her, its glowing eyes calm. He has become the final. Dive above the fleets froze as the lake erupted in pure golden light beams, shooting into the sky like pillars holding the heavens. The shield expanded outward, pushing their ships back gently like waves moving a leaf. Their weapons shut down engines. Failing under the force of the song, every scanner, every screen filled with blinding light. The night sky turned into a glowing sea of colors, auroras spreading across the atmosphere like paint across dark canvas. Below, the heart pulsed strong, its cracks gone, its light pure. The song filled every corner of the chamber, vibrating through the humans, through the towers, through the lake itself. The scientist floated near the core, tears in her eyes, but a small smile forming as she felt the commander's presence inside the song, like a voice whispering from far away, not gone, not lost, just part of something greater. The figure hovered beside her, its voice gentle. The heart remembers him always. Above the fleets, slowly lowered their weapons. Silence. Replacing fear, their commanders stared at the sky, unable to explain what they were seeing, their attack plans forgotten. Their ships drifting slowly as if humbled by the light spreading through the air. Some whispered that they had witnessed a miracle. Others simply stared, their hearts quiet for the first time in years. Below, the glowing figure turned to the humans. The song will continue. The heart will live. Because of what you gave, this world will remember you. The scientist looked at the core. One last time, feeling the warmth against her skin, she whispered goodbye, knowing the commander's spirit was now part of something eternal. The lake above returned to calm its surface, glowing softly like liquid stars. Once more, the shield faded, but the fleets did not fire. They hovered in silence, watching the peaceful glow they had feared moments ago. The valley breathed again under the 3 moons, their light mixing with the lake, creating a sky and water of endless beauty. The narrator's voice rose softly in the air, like the end of an old tale, in a world where no one dared to enter the water. It was humans who took the first dive, and in that dive they found not death, but destiny.